ATC check. Start listening in on ground control.
Sir, there are still terabytes of calculations needed before an actual flight is a
Jarvis, sometimes you gotta run before you can walk.
When it comes to superhero movies, there are certain things to expect that you know are going to be honestly kinda cool when they happen. The only question is, when will they happen and how will it be presented? For superhero origin movies, some of the key things by far is when they embrace their true hero self and become the superhero we all need them to be. Throughout Marvel and DC Comics, there have been some truly magnificent superhero transformations, and now we're going to show you some of the best. Allow us to present the top 9 superhero transformations in movies. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 9. Fantastic Four. The original Fantastic Four honestly doesn't get the love that it probably should. It had a lot going for it, despite some interesting choices in casting. Jessica Alba? Really? But one thing that absolutely worked was their going and getting their powers through their cosmic transformation. Now, in the comics, they were all on a spaceship together and got blasted by radiation. But in the film, they were on a space station and trying to study a radiation cloud that was moving far beyond what they predicted. When it hit the station, we got to see them all react differently to the blast. While that doesn't seem like much, it honestly looked really cool. We got to see Johnny's flames, Sue go and fade, Reed stretching out, and Ben's body start to harden. When they continued on in the movie and the various powers manifested, things got even cooler as we saw the Fantastic Four born before our very eyes. So, love or hate the movie, you have to admit, it did look cool.
The cloud is accelerating. We've got minutes until it hits, not hours.
Number 8. Thor Reborn. The first Thor film was, believe it or not, one of the biggest risks in the early days of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for 2 different reasons. First, the actor playing Thor was then a relatively unknown Chris Hemsworth. Second, and arguably just as importantly, in the comics, Thor had a very Shakespearean approach to talking, and that would get annoying really fast in a modern film. Not to mention, most people know of Thor loosely, but didn't know much about his mythology. Thus, it was up to the movie to showcase what he could be, and they did a great job that set up a franchise that'll be getting its 4th film next year. But the scene we're talking about isn't just a transformation, but a reclaiming of a name. Because after starting a war with the Frost Giants, Odin banished Thor to Earth and wouldn't allow him to reclaim his hammer unless he was worthy. Loki had sent the Destroyer armor to go and kill Thor and the Warriors 3 as well as Sif. But Thor begged Loki to spare them, and he did, and just killed Thor instead. But when he made that act of self-sacrifice, Mjolnir reacted and flew right back to his owner. Thor was reborn, armor, hammer, and all, and he destroyed that armor and showed that no one messes with the mighty Thor.
You possess the power of Thor.
Number 7. Black Suit Superman. Zack Snyder's Justice League was very much a movie made by the fans who willed the Snyder Cut into existence. And one of the things that Zack wanted in the theatrical version of the film that was undone by Warner Brothers and Joss Whedon was the black suit that was from the Death of Superman storyline. Believe it or not, Zack didn't need a black suit made, he just took the Man of Steel one and recolored it in post-production and made it black. It totally worked. But the question was, how would he get that suit? Well, in Zack Snyder's Justice League we found out. After being resurrected, he went back to the Kryptonian ship and walked through the Hall of Armor, if you will, and as he did, the voices of his 2 fathers, Jor-El and Jonathan Kent, spoke to him, reminding him of who he was, what he could be, what he was meant to be, and how he would raise the world up. He selected the black suit and emerged as the Man of Steel once more, and he flew just like he did before, and went to bask in the glory of the sun to power up for the fight with Steppenwolf. If you loved nothing else about the movie, love the power of that scene.
Every person to be a force for good.
Number 6. Captain Deadpool? Nah, just Deadpool. Let's be honest here, the Deadpool movie is one of the best superhero movies ever made solely because it dared to be different, was unapologetically R-rated, and was not afraid to point out some of the unseen flaws in randomly deciding to be a hero. Such as, suddenly deciding to be a superhero and trying to figure out what to wear. The Deadpool rap scene from the movie beautifully and hilariously showed that, as Wade Wilson went through various versions of his costume in order to find the right one. Going from white outfits to red ones, to using different masks until he eventually found the perfect combination with the Deadpool costume we all know and love. It was a very different kind of transformation into a superhero, but in the end, isn't that what it was all about in the first place?
Captain Deadpool. No, just
Deadpool, yeah.
Number 5. Captain America. Part of the fun of these superhero transformations is the fact that sometimes it's kind of shocking just how riveting it is to see them go from one state of being to another. Few transformations sum that up perfectly, like Steve Rogers becoming Captain America. As Captain America, the first Avenger perfectly showed with brilliant use of CGI, Steve Rogers was not the biggest man on the block or the strongest, but he had the biggest heart. When he was to undergo the procedure for Captain America, no one knew how it would look, and they even showcased it almost going wrong. But when he emerged 20 sizes bigger and layered in muscles, yeah, that was impressive. Even Peggy Carter was impressed. Just saying.
You look taller.
Number 4. Aquaman. Aquaman is the highest-grossing DC Comics movie ever. Shocking, but just let that sink in. The movie had a lot going for it, including great casting. But the most important thing in many people's minds was how Aquaman would look in his official costume. DC Comics had taken many liberties, fair and non, with the outfits in the past, but how would it go for Aquaman? The answer was very well, because James Wan brought out the OG true Aquaman costume and put it on Jason Momoa. When he emerged from the waterfall with the costume on and the trident of the king in his hand, you couldn't not look at this fully emerged hero and say, dang, he looks good. Maybe that's why so many people watched it, because Jason Momoa just looked so good. Number 3. Wonder Woman in No Man's Land. This one might be seen as odd because technically speaking, Diana was Wonder Woman when she put on the armor and went to join Steve Trevor in his quest. And technically that was true, but up until that point in the movie, Steve had only seen a light example of what Diana could do. When she emerged in full armor to go take on Germans in No Man's Land though, everything changed. She wasn't just some random Amazon. She was a full-on warrior who took on everything the Germans had and gave it right back at them. She blocked bullets, withstood the barrage of Gatling guns, she burst through buildings like it was nothing, and so on and so forth. She was a hero, and that scene still lives on in all who watched it.
So what? So we do nothing?
Number 2. I'm always angry, says the Hulk. The Avengers movie was an important moment for the MCU in many various ways. But the biggest thing arguably was bringing in Mark Ruffalo to be the new Bruce Banner Hulk. A key moment in the film was an unintentional Hulk out, and throughout the film, Banner was teasing his secret to containing the Hulk. Then at the climactic battle against Chitauri, with a metal dragon breathing down their necks, they found out the secret. He's always angry. The transformation that happened next was nothing short of legendary, and is still a highlight of the MCU. What made it work was just how smooth it all seemed as they morphed Banner into the Hulk. No one saw that coming, that's for sure.
I'm always angry.
Number 1. Batman Begins. If we're being honest here, there were a lot of Batman transformations that we could have put on here. From the original Michael Keaton reveal to Batfleck in the armored suit from Dark Knight Returns, we had a lot of options here. But in truth, the one that everyone loves and remembers is that of Batman Begins. When Batman went and took down all of Carmine Falcone's men and then lifted Falcone out of his limousine to reveal to him just who he managed to tick off by corrupting his city, the way he lifted him up and then dramatically said,
I'm Batman.
Sent everyone chills and proved that Christian Bale was going to be a great Batman. And he was indeed that. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the superhero transformations that happened in films and how they were presented to viewers? Do you like how they were done? Which ones were your personal favorites? And which ones that we left out do you feel are the ones who should have been mentioned? Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time on the channel.